When I started my photography career, I was working on 2 jobs. Full-time in a small software production company and then as a photographer. From 9 to 5, I was at the office working for the software company. After that, I went home and spent time with my family until it was bedtime. Once others were in the bed, I started shooting product photos. Usually it was around 9 or 10 in the evening when my second workday started. I remember so clearly those nights when I said good night to everybody and closed the bedroom door so I could start shooting products. And after that, I did the editing until 3 or 4 a.m. in the morning, something. Went to bed for a few hours to get up in the morning and start it all over again. Until today, I wonder how I was able to carry on like this. This was a complete madness. But I guess it was my true passion that kept me going like this. As I was learning every day something new while shooting photos. I'm not saying that I had tons of work right away, but I spent so much time perfecting my lighting and editing to get the highest results for my new clients. My first client, as you remember, was an ad agency, and they always sent me a sketch of the image that they wanted. And this sketch very often included the lighting ideas as well. And to achieve this result, I was doing long hours to get the image as close to the sketch as possible. And believe me, it was hard. It was so difficult, especially if you don't know right away how the light moves and how you can create all those effects that are visible on the sketch. At some point, I even thought that maybe even that art director who approved this sketch didn't know if it is possible to achieve such a composition in real life. But I still kept going until I got the wanted results. And it took me so much time. As I've said earlier, I worked quite a long time without really understanding how light actually moves. There were a lot of frustrating evenings, but I kept going as all my knowledge is coming through practicing and learning from YouTube and online courses I learned while shooting images for the clients. I haven't been in a photography school where I would have been able to learn all the lighting schemes or all the theory and so on. It all came through countless hours of practicing. That's why I always say that you need to practice. It doesn't matter how much theory you read. If you do not practice, you can't really see the actual results in real life. And believe me, it is different what you see in the books. Every little detail matters, and this is what you learn through practicing. But now, coming back to my story, I continued working and learning like this for a few years. During this period, I didn't shoot only product photos, as I thought that I need to do everything to get my name out there. I was always a bit afraid that if I don't accept the next job that is coming in, whatever it was then, maybe soon I don't get any clients at all. So this fear made me accept every request that was coming into my mailbox. So I shot products, I did some corporate portraits, I shot architecture, and I did even events. For the events, we actually had pretty awesome solution. Kind of semi-automatic process where we set up photo wall with the studio lights on the event. But the background was not just a solid color or branded content, it was green screen. And then we had pre-selected several background photos with the client, with all the additional design elements and texts and so on. And during the event, guests were able to choose custom background. And after we shot the portraits, we added this background in Photoshop. And on top of that, we printed this image out so the guest got this as a gift from the event. And we had some really creative solutions in there. We put people sitting on the edge of the moon, skiing on top of the mountain, or walking in the magic forest. We had endless options for that. And shooting events was also matching with my full-time job schedule, as all those parties were usually in the evening. So back then I was doing everything, but my main passion was still product photography. Everything was going smoothly. I worked in the office during the day, and after 5 I was shooting photos in my studio. My client base was slowly growing and I was really happy about that. But then it happened. I had a meeting with my employer. The company where I was working was providing services to international clients, and as the main client who I was working with decided to move their production to France, meant that my job got terminated. That was a bit of a surprise for me, but luckily, as I had my side hustle as a photographer, I remember I didn't panic about that so much, as I knew that I still have my other income source. Then at this point I had few months to figure out what am I going to do with my life. So I sat down and I did the old school pros and cons list, pluses and minuses, where I started to compare payroll job benefits with my studio benefits. I started to calculate how much work I need to have in my studio in order to make it my full-time job. Calculated all the expenses and taxes, and at this moment I had my studio income just below the salary that I was getting from the other company. But I thought that if I am now able to work full-time as a photographer, then I can fill that missing part in the budget. Although it was a bit scary, as I didn't know if I can find any extra clients. But still, after a few days of calculating, I decided that from now on I will become a full-time photographer. And this is how it all started, and have worked for the last 10 years. During those years I've had quite a bit of adventures, but these are the stories for another videos. I hope this video will give you some ideas and motivation to pursue your own goals. All I can say, everything is possible, you just have to start. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.